Hi, before we start this ASMR video, I'd like to thank all these members on my Patreon for their continued support. If you're looking for any content that I create on other platforms, check the link below. Now, let's get into the video.
Sometimes when my mind is quiet and it starts to drift toward all the strange, funny, beautiful little facts hiding in the world, I get excited. Like the kinds of things you don't really need to know, but once you hear them, they sort of just sit in your head like a cozy little secret. And I thought maybe you'd like to hear some of those with me. Just let them float around. No pressure to remember anything. Just let the words wash over you. So, did you know that octopuses have 3 hearts? I always thought that was so sweet. Like nature decided one heart just wasn't enough for something so mysterious and soft. 2 of the hearts actually pump blood to the gills, and the third pumps to the rest of their body. And the funniest part, when an octopus swims, the heart that pumps to the body actually stops beating, which is why they prefer to crawl instead of swim. Imagine choosing the slow, cozy route just because it feels better. I can totally respect that. And speaking of creatures, there's a jellyfish. It's called the Tortoipus dohridi. I don't even know if I said that correctly, but you might have heard of it. So it's called the so-called immortal jellyfish. It can revert back to its youthful form whenever it's stressed or injured. It's like if you had a bad day and said, nope, and turned back into a baby version of yourself. Maybe that's the secret. Maybe sometimes we all just need a little bit of a reset sometimes. Here's another one I love. Trees actually talk to each other underground. Not with words, obviously, but through the vast network of fungi that connects their roots together. Scientists actually call it the mycorrhizal network. I butchered that word, but some people call it the wood wide web, which is actually pretty adorable. And through that network, trees can share nutrients, they can warn each other about dangers, and even send resources to weaker neighboring trees. Imagine the forest gently whispering from tree to tree, taking care of one another in this sort of quiet, ancient way. And, well, I guess that makes sense because life loves to communicate, essentially, even in ways that we don't fully understand yet. For example, did you know that bananas are berries, but strawberries aren't? I know. It sounds honestly like a lie, but botanically speaking, berries have seeds inside the fruit, so bananas count. But strawberries have their seeds on the outside, so they don't. Nature really said, let's cause some chaos today. When they were being created, that's for sure. And you know what else is chaotic? Space. It's honestly so big that our brains can't actually fully understand it. But it's also full of the most oddly specific details. Like, there's a planet called HD 189733b where it rains glass sideways. Just picture that. Oh, at thousands of miles per hour as well. But then there's also a giant cloud of alcohol floating in space, enough to make roughly 400 trillion pints of beer. I feel like those two facts balance each other out somehow. Speaking of the universe, starlight, the light that you see coming at you, is actually old. It's really old. When you look up at the night sky, some of the stars are shining from hundreds or even thousands of years ago. So technically, you're looking into the past, which means every time you stargaze, you're time traveling just a little bit. I think that's pretty kind of magical, actually. Here's another soft little fact for you. This one's kind of cute. Cows have best friends. And when they're separated from their friends, their stress levels go up. They calm down when they're reunited again. I like that. I like the idea that even animals understand the comfort of having someone familiar nearby, someone who makes your world feel safer. And hummingbirds, their heart beats more than 1,000 times per minute. They're tiny, but full of this wild and unstoppable energy. But then at night, they enter a state that's actually called torpor, sort of like a kind of mini hibernation to save energy. They slow down, breathe softly, and they rest deeply. Even the smallest and busiest creatures need to take a pause, just like we do. Diverting a little bit, but here's something soothing. In Iceland, there are more sheep than people. And because of that, a lot of Icelandic traffic jams are, you guessed it, herds of sheep wandering across the road. Imagine sitting in your car, waiting for a fluffy parade to finish passing by. That's the kind of inconvenience that I could honestly handle. And another favorite of mine, honey never spoils. Archaeologists have actually found jars of honey in ancient tombs that are thousands of years old and still perfectly edible. Something so simple and sweet, outlasting entire civilizations. There's something oddly comforting about that. While we're on longevity, by the way, sharks actually existed before trees. That always makes my brain stop for a second when I hear that. Sharks have been swimming through the ancient oceans for over 400 million years. Trees have been around for 385 million years. So sharks are, you guessed it, older than forests. If you ever needed a reminder, honestly, that nature doesn't follow human logic, well, there it is. Now, here's a soft, cozy fact. Wombat poop is cube-shaped. Perfect little cubes. And scientists think that it helps them poop, well, it helps their poop from rolling away. So the wombats can sort of mark their territory more effectively. Nature didn't need to make a cube poop. Cube poop, not cute poop. But it did. And I think that's honestly delightful. Did you know also that butterflies taste with their feet? When they land on a flower, they're actually sampling it to see if it's worth eating. Imagine every time you walked into a room, your feet immediately told you what flavor the furniture was. And another thing that people don't expect, but carrots used to be purple. In fact, they used to be bright, vibrant purple. The orange ones we know today were selectively bred by us. So, somewhere in history, people looked at purple carrots and said, but what if it was orange? And then just every day, or one day, everybody just agreed on that fact. Here's something almost poetic, but every time that you shuffle a deck of cards, there's a high chance that exact order has never existed before in the entire history of the universe. There are more ways to arrange a deck of cards than there are atoms on Earth. So, a shuffle creates something brand new, a tiny, unique moment. But let's wander into the ocean again for a moment here, shall we? Seahorses. The male ones are the ones who get pregnant. They're the ones that carry the babies. They nourish them. They give birth. It's honestly like nature is reminding us that rules aren't fixed. Life is more flexible, and it's more creative than we honestly give it credit for. Oh, and the ocean isn't actually blue. Water absorbs colors from the red end of the spectrum first, and the blue light travels deeper. So our eyes see the blue that remains. The ocean is basically wearing a color created by how light moves. So in a way, so are we, our skin colors, etc. So let's ease it down a bit. Here's a more gentle one. Moss grows in soft little star shapes if you get close enough to look at them. The next time you walk past a patch of moss, maybe just pause for a second. It's like a tiny green galaxy sitting under your feet. And you might like this one too. Your body glows. Humans are actually bioluminescent, but the light is so faint that our eyes can't detect it. We emit more light during the afternoon and slightly less at night. You're glowing even when you feel dim. And finally, there's a type of fern called the resurrection plant. When it dries out, it curls up and looks dead, like a little tumbleweed. But as soon as it touches water again, it unfurls and it comes back to life. A reminder that sometimes rest isn't actually the end, it's just a pause before opening up again. And, alright, so I like that the idea that everything from jellyfish to trees to stars to you has its own way of growing, its own way of resting, its own way of returning. And all these tiny little facts, all these little wonders that I've talked to you about, they're here just to drift through your mind like soft whispers, helping you settle in, breathe deeper, and feel a little bit more at ease.